global phenomena that science cannot explain. True stories that defy rational explanation. With credible eyewitness reports of UFOs seemingly overwhelming, what do aliens want with us? Technology?
Maybe they were searching for nuclear fuel.
Human experimentation?
These horrible creatures are attaching things to me.
Or are aliens planning a secret biological takeover?
UFO theorists believe that the cow blood is being used for hybrid fertilization, alien hybrids.
As we colonize and explore more of our planet, are we discovering shocking traces of mysterious beasts?
In your expert opinion, sir, what could this be?
As global warming changes the environment, are these creatures being forced out of hiding? And as scientists search for evidence of the soul, reports of paranormal and demonic activity increase. Do the souls of the dead exist in our world? New investigations question unexplained happenings and otherworldly events.
I've never seen anything like it.
What have we found down there?
There was an unidentified flying object.
One took off, the other one took off.
First-hand testimony and fresh evidence build new possibilities.
What I saw was real.
It just doesn't make sense.
Rethink everything you think you know. In April 2014, NASA confirms its Kepler telescope discovers an Earth-like planet orbiting a star 500 light-years from Earth. Now named Kepler 186f, it's the first planet NASA has found comparable in size to Earth in the Goldilocks zone, the orbit around a star in which conditions are just right for life. Remarkable discoveries like this make many space scientists believe the question of whether life exists in outer space is all but over. Sri Lankan professor Chandra Wickramasinghe is the world's leading expert on extraterrestrial life.
The existence of life outside the Earth is amazingly regarded as an extraordinary hypothesis. But I would argue that the extraordinary hypothesis is to say that the Earth is the center of life in the universe and that no life exists even next door to it.
Now a new riddle has emerged, one perhaps even more mysterious. If there is alien life in the universe, what might they want from us? In the last 70 years, scores of credible witnesses have reported thousands of alien craft. Through these encounters, a list of controversial theories has emerged to explain the aliens' agenda. The debate rages. Are they interested in our top-secret technology?
It's clear to me that there's a pattern emerging here, and that UFOs seem to be deliberately targeting these nuclear facilities.
Are they interested in biology?
I've personally investigated animal mutilation cases where there's been UFO sightings nearby.
Or, most alarming, are they interested in us?
It's hovering, it's not an aircraft!
But we have to consider it as a possibility that he was abducted by some other intelligence, some race or species that's capable of doing this sort of thing.
The question is now so pressing, even the U.S. federal government is taking notice. Washington, D.C., April 29th, 2013. 50 witnesses from government agencies around the world have come together to give evidence that military bases are being targeted by UFOs.
The
the evidence is overwhelming that Earth is being visited by intelligently controlled extraterrestrial spacecraft.
The question is, why? The U.S. government refuses to investigate, at least publicly. But ex-British Ministry of Defense UFO analyst Nick Pope is investigating. He's traveling to meet Robert Salas, an ex-captain in the U.S. Air Force. In March 1967, Salas is the officer in charge of 10 nuclear warheads at a Montana military base. Early one morning, he's woken by a guard.
He's screaming into the phone. He's yelling, "Sir, I'm looking out the front gate. I see this glowing red object." The lights turn from green to red. In other words, red meaning unlaunchable. All 10 missiles were disabled, every single one of them. This was an inexplicable situation. I'm thinking we're under some sort of an attack.
There is no attack. The UFOs vanish, and the missiles come back online. But if it is the work of aliens, what is the purpose of this extraordinary incursion? Is it a reconnaissance mission? An attempt to find out more about the U.S.'s nuclear technology? 15 years on, October 1982, the Ukraine, then part of the Soviet Union. An incident here suggests alien visitors are not only aware of nuclear military technology, but now have mastered how to use it. An unseen force takes control of a nuclear base and sets the missiles to launch. Journalist Paul Stonehill is researching this potentially apocalyptic event.
The missiles were targeting the United States.
The warheads are minutes from firing. Then, just like in the U.S., the UFOs suddenly vanish. But it seems the aliens now have the potential to trigger global destruction.
I think nuclear war would have happened.
But they might not be driven by the desire to destroy. Bentwaters, England. Events at this U.S. airbase hint aliens see us as little more than an intergalactic gas station. In 1980, 25 military personnel witness a UFO scanning the base until it finds the nuclear missile bunker. Monroe Nevels is the investigating officer.
We have nuclear-powered submarines, we have nuclear-powered ships. Maybe they were searching for nuclear fuel.
And an August 2014 potential UFO sighting over the Limerick nuclear plant, Pennsylvania, backs up this theory. It's just the most recent documented report. Other U.S. nuclear facilities reportedly targeted include Ellington and Cherokee, South Carolina, McGuire, North Carolina, Oak Ridge, Tennessee, Los Alamos, New Mexico, and Indian Point in New York State. But nuclear fuel for intergalactic space travel is not the only reason aliens might be increasingly focused on Earth. Between August 8th and 17th, 2014, in Walsenburg, Colorado, 8 mutilated cattle are discovered. It's not the first such discovery.
So who's doing this? This is a complete unknown.
Whatever it was came from above. That's for sure.
Credible UFO reports prompt an urgent question. What do visiting aliens want with us? UFO raids on nuclear bases provoke speculation they might be interested in our technology. But strange cases of animal mutilation suggest there might be more at stake. Author and paranormal investigator Chris O'Brien has spent 20 years researching cattle mutilation.
Cattle mutilations and livestock mutilations are a global phenomenon. In England, you've had horses and sheep. There were cases reported in Australia in the 50s. There's been approximately 2,500, 3,000 cases in South America since 2000. There's been thousands of cases in the United States, going all the way back to the 50s. This is a very, very enduring mystery.
All these mutilations have a number of things in common. The complete draining of the animal's blood, the removal of its eyes, ears, lips, and tongue, the loss of major internal organs with no point of entry. The udders and genitals are removed and the anal passage cored out, all carried out with surgical precision, and the cuts apparently cauterized with intense heat. Chuck Zukowski believes aliens are involved in these bizarre cases and has a theory why.
UFO theorists believe that the cow blood is being used for hybrid fertilization, alien hybrids.
But a chilling case in the UK suggests aliens are abducting and investigating humans too, sometimes with fatal consequences. Todmorden, England, July 1980. Police officer Alan Godfrey is called to a suspected homicide. 40-year-old Zygmunt Adamski lies dumped on a coal heap. He's been missing for 5 days. Burn marks are found on his head and neck, his eyes staring at the sky.
It looked like somebody had stuck electrodes on him.
Are these the telltale signs of alien abduction? The autopsy finds he dies of a heart attack. The inquest records an open verdict. But the mystery deepens with analysis of the green substance found on Adamski's burns. It cannot be identified.
Weatherby found it was no substance known to man.
But evidence of extraterrestrial involvement comes 20 weeks later when investigating officer Alan Godfrey has his own alien encounter. Under hypnosis, he recollects his experience.
The tale that comes out says I was abducted, I was medically examined.
Contacts like a lot.
Some surveys claim millions of people have been abducted by aliens worldwide. Like Michigan, January 2013, Elizabeth Murray. Texas, December 2005, Donna Lee. Queensland, Australia, October 2001, Amy Rylance. One thing binds these disparate tales together. The abductees believe they are subject to experimentation. Abduction and scientific examination of humans suggests the alien agenda may not be to spy on us. Instead, they may be intent on blending in with us, living side by side and sharing our planet. Fantastical as this sounds, there are cases suggesting aliens have successfully bred with humans. Kishtin, Russia. In 1996, Detective Captain Vladimir Bendlin discovers a strange skeleton in a deprived area of the town.
От чего я был в замешательстве. Это было так неожиданно, я такого никогда не видел.
Its appearance is startling. The helmet-shaped head, huge cat-like eyes, and absence of a navel or sexual organs leave Bendlin mystified.
Человек с таким уродством, либо это иная форма жизни. Что же это такое?
Despite comparing the creature's DNA to thousands of known species, scientists fail to find a match.
Это геном, которого нет в базе данных, абсолютно отсутствует. То есть это неизвестный геном.
Captain Bendlin hands over the mummified remains to a research group for study. But according to them, when an assistant is heading back to the lab, he encounters a UFO and the strange creature is taken away. It's a sensational claim, but if true, it's troubling, suggesting that not only do alien-human hybrids exist, but that aliens are in communication with their offspring. But how could they be in direct communication from deep space? In Bosnia-Herzegovina in 2005, archaeologist Dr. Samir Osmanagic may have found a clue.
Geometrically, this is a pyramid.
Does a strange electromagnetic field emanating from this newly discovered structure provide the answer? And next up, with reports of yetis, lake monsters, and chupacabras on the rise.
And all of a sudden she goes, oh my God, it's the chupacabra.
What's driving contact with these strange creatures? There is troubling evidence of increasing UFO activity and, almost incredibly, alien-human breeding. Now, the discovery of what some say is the oldest pyramid on Earth suggests how aliens might be communicating with their hybrid offspring. Deep below the structure, in a labyrinth of underground tunnels, Dr. Samir Osmanagic has discovered giant quartz-rich megaliths.
Somehow, they incorporated quartz crystal in this huge structure. So what we have now, 22 meters below us, underground water stream, the water moves, releases negative ions, activates the quartz crystal. So it seems that these megaliths are actually technology. And the pyramid, it's a huge energy amplifier.
Physicist Dr. Slobodan Mizdrak, an expert on electromagnetic energy, tests whether this is possible. He begins by searching for any strange electromagnetic signals.
There is small anomaly. It's electric component of electromagnetic field, and it is going now higher and higher. Wow, now we have about 2.2 volts per square centimeter. Frequency 26 till 32 kilohertz. And this is anomaly I cannot recognize. I cannot explain from where it comes.
According to Dr. Mizdrak, there is a beam of energy emanating from the top of the pyramid.
On all the hills all over the world there is nothing, but on the pyramid you can measure it.
Bizarrely, Dr. Mizdrak's equipment seems to show the strength of the pyramid's energy beam is increasing the further away it gets from the summit. And he's found the same strange energy fields on 87 other pyramids across the globe. This discovery defies our current understanding of the laws of physics. So Dr. Osmanagic sees a direct connection between pyramids and aliens.
The knowledge has been brought to us. By who? Until we get scientific answers, we have to stay open for different options. Some other civilization from out of this planet is one. Or maybe even some other species in some other dimension. All options are open at this moment.
If pyramids are giant energy machines built to send messages to outer space, it might help us make sense of the alien agenda. Maybe they have visited us for thousands of years, shared their technology with us, even bred with us. If so, everything we thought we knew about aliens is wrong. Perhaps Earth is their satellite planet. And conceivably, we may even be them. Extraterrestrials are not the only alien creatures we reportedly encounter. The Earth seems to harbor strange beings of its own. Over a quarter of the Earth's landmass is wilderness. Vast swathes of uncharted territory where fantastic animals supposedly live. Legendary creatures appear in every culture, from dragons to the Loch Ness Monster. But human population growth and our need for resources is now pushing us into these unknown realms. And we're finding that beasts of legend could be reality.
There are many instances of monsters from legend turning out to be real animals. Perhaps chief amongst these is the kraken, a multi-armed sea monster from Nordic maritime legend, turned up alive and kicking in the 1870s as the giant squid. If this monster can exist, what else can exist?
Around the world, over 350 lakes supposedly hide monsters. 90% of them are cold water lakes. Fish and aquatic reptiles don't breed if it's too cold. But global warming could be changing that. Lake Lubinka, northwest Siberia, a region of Russia where the permafrost is melting. In 2012, explorer Igor Grishin is on the trail of a legendary monster locals say hunts in the lake. Out of nowhere, they are attacked.
Первое, что произошло необычное, то, что лодку потянуло на глубину. Второе, что мы увидели, эхолот буквально взорвался. И сигнал звуковой, и видеосигнал был очень сильный, отчетливый, мощный сигнал. То есть это не какая-то была, видимо, мелкая рыба. Вот запись сонара, которая сделана в лодке прямо в ту ночь.
These orange crests on the sonar monitor indicate there was something in the water beneath the boat. It appears to be 50 feet long and moving at 15 miles per hour.
Я готов сказать, что тот объект, который мы чувствовали под собой, он превышал размером нашу лодку.
Water analysis proves that life completely new to science does live in Lake Lubinka.
Из диатомовых мы нашли 15 новых видов, ранее не найденных в других озерах Якутии.
Diatoms are tiny organisms. But could the lake be home to a much bigger monster? And is global warming creating conditions to help them breed? In the hot summer of 2013, reptiles in London's canals and lakes breed for the first time, threatening to devour other species. Could the same be happening in Lake Lubinka?
Lake monsters have been reported since the time of ancient Babylon. There must be something to it, more than tall tales.
The effects of climate change are most extreme at the edges of the planet's frozen wildernesses. It's here that sightings of the world's most famous legendary beast are becoming more frequent. What could happen if global warming brings us face to face with the Yeti?
There was a lot of blood found in her stomach, which implies that she was still alive when the tongue was removed.
Russia, 2012. 3 young boys stumble on a trail of footprints near their village. 11-year-old Yevgeny Anisimov shoots this video on his cell phone. Each footprint is around 16 inches long, 6 to 8 inches wide.
Давай, мы потихоньку пройдем. Они говорили, давай не пойдем. Я говорю, пошли. Я взял телефон, пошли, потом поедем следом. Потом дошли до кустов. Я не видел. Я за кустами так сидел, я просто телефон держал.
At the end of the footprints, a strange figure appears in the trees.
Видишь? Может, какой-то, я думал, медведь какой-то. Потом посмотрел, он здесь голый. Лап нету, как руки у него. Потом я снимал, он повернулся. Ну, я испугался. Ну, я думал, что он за мной побежит, разорвет. Пошли, пошли. Да пошли. Ну, пошли. Кирилл, жди. Я пошли тебе, я
Is this proof the Yeti is not only real, but is now being forced to live in our backyard? And should we be worried? Possible evidence of the threat Yetis pose comes from the mysterious deaths of 9 Russian students in the Ural Mountains over 50 years ago. The group suffer horrific injuries. Bones and skulls are crushed, and one of the women has her tongue ripped out. While researching this cold case in 2013, investigators unearthed this remarkable photo. It seems to show a strange figure lurking by the trees.
It's as if this figure is watching the group. Looks fairly powerfully built. There's almost a simian-like aspect to it because of this crouching, predatory stance it's taking. It's very, very interesting. It's the first time I've seen it.
Investigator Keith McCloskey thinks there may be a connection between the photograph and an entry in the group's journal.
But there was a comment made by Luda where she said, "We now know that snowmen exist." And this could be what she's referring to.
Could a Yeti be responsible for the deaths? And if so, why would it attack? All reports describe Yetis walking on 2 legs. Could this be a clue?
The only creatures that walk upright are humans and their relatives. What people see when they are describing a Yeti is a descendant population of early human ancestors.
If Yetis are descendants of ancient human ancestors, it's likely they share their behavior and are fierce hunters. If the Russian students stumbled into their territory, they could have attacked instinctively. Territory is key to every animal's survival. But in Indonesia, almost half of the forest habitat has been destroyed over the past 100 years. This destruction could be exposing a human-like creature, the 5-foot-tall orang pendek. Adam Davies is a cryptozoologist, an expert in mysterious animals. In 2001, he makes a remarkable discovery.
Yesterday was an amazing day. Excellent news. We found a print. Could be the orang pendek.
And I was so excited. And we cast it, we pulled it out of the ground, and everyone was like, way! You know, it was a fantastic moment because we knew we'd got this print.
Adam sends his print to Professor Jeffrey Meldrum, an expert on primate footprints.
This is clearly not attributable to any known primate species. I mean, the combination of relative digit size, the divergence of the big toe, if that's what it is, this could be significant evidence for the orang pendek. It really could.
As deforestation continues to shrink the orang pendek's habitat, could we be edging closer to this humanoid creature? Recently in Indonesia, explorers have found 20 more possible prints of the orang pendek. But it's not just in remote rainforests that strange creatures are being forced into the open. It's closer to home.
That is a very odd-looking thing, isn't it?
And later,
it went through me. It was like a bucket of ice getting thrown right in my face.
Is science close to proving spirits exist among us? Our push into the world's wildernesses is forcing us to consider that beasts of legend could be reality. In the last century, Mexico's farmers have absorbed over 54 billion acres of remote scrubland. Grazing goats in the isolated outpost of Zapotitlan Salinas may have disturbed a terrifying new predator, a bloodthirsty animal reported across Central America, the chupacabras.
Mataron 90 cabras. Cuando yo vine estaban los animales amontonados allá.
In under 2 months, 300 goats are killed across 7 farms, and every time locals claim the animals are drained of blood.
Mucha gente piensa que era el chupacabras.
Grazing livestock force native animals to share resources or move on, but predators can go on the attack. Could the chupacabras now see farm animals as an easy meal? Cryptozoologist Ken Gerhardt is closing in on the predator. He's traveling to Tepic, central Mexico, to meet Father Antonio Aguilar,
Buenas tardes, Padre.
who claims to have a chupacabras that has been terrorizing local farmers.
That is a very odd-looking thing, isn't it? It has hair, right? Hair?
Sí.
Fur?
Y 8 extremidades con terminación de pezuña como de chivo.
So could this be the blood-sucking chupacabras? Because the animal is preserved in alcohol, it's impossible to run DNA tests. But in the suburbs of Texas, wildlife expert Dr. Phyllis Canyon thinks she has proof a new blood-sucking predator is encroaching upon our world.
What was the most unusual is that each time we found a chicken dead, it was opened up anywhere in this throat area, and it appeared that all the blood was out of it.
Could the chupacabras be moving into our towns? That's what Dr. Canyon fears when, driving down the highway, she sees a strange carcass by the side of the road.
I was a little apprehensive because I'd never seen anything that looked like that. this animal had brilliant blue eyes. The hide looked like elephant hide. There is an enormous amount of excess skin that was between the ears, like enough that I could pull it up with my hand and pull up about 2 inches of just skin. It was a very ugly animal.
Dr. Canyon sends a sample of the creature for DNA analysis. The results are astonishing.
They said, we're telling you the DNA does not match anything. I was thrilled. The results were black and white. It was phenomenal.
How much longer can science ignore evidence that cryptid animals may exist? As more and more bizarre creatures are forced out of the wilderness, and as we encroach on their territory, are we ready to live side by side with beasts of legend? Cryptid beasts and aliens. Mainstream science is struggling to find explanations for these phenomena. Now, a third element is adding to the puzzle. Evidence the human spirit has a life of its own. Can science and new technology help us find proof?
If it's a real phenomena, you should eventually be able to capture it with a scientific instrument.
Tucson, Arizona, November 2001. 24-year-old college student Jamie Sherman has a heart transplant. The new heart saves her life, but gives her more than she bargains for. Jamie believes her donor's spirit has been transplanted too.
I really felt like he and I were just kind of becoming one person. I felt like I'm living life for both of us at this point.
Jamie is not unique. Around the world, hundreds of heart recipients report they've been given the spirit of their transplant donor. Bill Wohl is transformed following his transplant in 2000.
Maybe half a dozen different new characteristics were added to my personality and life. Probably the biggest one was caring and helping other people. It's very bizarre and weird, and it's hard to comprehend.
Some scientists now accept that some aspects of the spirit, like memory, can be transplanted with a donated heart.
All cells in the human body have the capacity to have memory. If you take an organ out of one person, a donor, and have it surgically implanted in another person, a recipient, then those memories that have been stored in that organ, like the heart, will have gone from the donor to the recipient. And now it's possible that at least some people will end up picking up and responding to the memories of the donor.
But experiments demonstrating the heart has its own intelligence force some scientists to go even further.
The heart really is tapped into another type of field, another level, another dimension, if you will, what a lot of people would call the soul or the spirit or the higher self.
Is this evidence the human soul exists in the heart and can live on after death?
And this is very aligned with all of the great writings and all of the major religions of the world. So in science, we might have to eat a little humble pie here and admit that they've been right all along about the heart.
If, as the world's great religions have always advocated, the soul exists, what of other life after death? What about ghosts? Are they the spirits of the dead? And can science prove they exist? Amador County, Northern California. Until 1960, the imposing Preston Castle is a notoriously brutal juvenile facility. But now it's a supernatural hotspot where hundreds of people claim to encounter ghostly spirits.
Coming in, it's very scary. It almost seems to have a life of its own. I've been touched. I've experienced growls when there's nobody there.
Some, like Doug Carnahan, even claim to have been attacked by these spirits.
This time it didn't stop. It went through me. It was like a bucket of ice getting thrown right in my face.
Is there a scientific explanation for these frightening events? If not, are spirits of the dead, ghosts, responsible? Or is this an even more terrifying phenomenon?
There is a danger. These are not just ghosts, they may also be demons.
Do spirits or the souls of the dead exist in our world? In Preston Castle, California, scientist Dr. Harry Kluwer wants to discover if sightings of ghosts are little more than mass hysteria.
When people enter a place that they think is haunted, they're going to have this hysterical reaction.
Dr. Kluwer speculates chemical signals called pheromones we emit when we're afraid could spread hysteria through a group without a spirit ever being present.
Sort of like a psychological infection. Somebody reacts to something, they give off physical cues, and the others around them react to it. It's such a strong phenomenon that you could start off not believing that there's a ghost there and end up believing there is.
To test the theory, a mix of believers and skeptics are sent into the darkest parts of the castle.
I feel like there's someone breathing down my neck. I'm really cold and I heard a noise.
At 1 in the morning, Dr. Kluwer brings the experiment to a close. If pheromones are to blame, fear should have infected the whole group, and everyone should be showing the fear response. The fear response is measured by cortisol levels in saliva. When the results come back, there's a real surprise.
The results of the experiment were fascinating. Half of the subjects had massive increases in their cortisol levels, but others were not so scared and had much smaller increases in their cortisol.
Mass hysteria is not to blame. So what is? Paranormal author Heidi Hollis has a theory. She has identified a terrifying new phenomenon spreading across the U.S. called shadow people.
I believe that shadow people tend to linger everywhere, that a lot of, atrocities have been done. Some will call it demonic, some will call it alien. I like to call it evil, pure evil.
Catholic priest Father Mike Maginot has battled shadow people before and believes they are not ghosts, but demons sent by the devil.
A demon could look like the shadow of the person. Demonic entities are committed to on their purpose. You're not going to save them. You're not going to get them to go into the light. The only way to get rid of that is by an exorcism.
Holy men have exorcised devils and demons from before the time of Christ right to today. In July 2014, Pope Francis recognizes the International Association of Exorcists, a group of 250 priests spread across 30 countries. But can ancient ritual like exorcism succeed where science fails? St. Louis, Missouri, where the real events behind the movie The Exorcist take place. A young boy's family claim he is possessed by the devil. The boy is kept in a locked room at the Alexian Brothers Hospital. Brother Greg Holowinski is the last eyewitness to the events. He speaks for the first time shortly before his death in May 2014.
The first night I went up, there was a boy laying in bed. There were 3 priests that were the exorcists. His eyes were closed tight. He reacted differently when possession took place.
Omnes immundes, omnes satanic potestas.
Every now and then the devil, using the boy's voice, would curse and swear. I was frightened. And then something just unbelievable. You could feel the powers of the devil. I saw the boy's body levitate. It was an experience that I would never forget.
The exorcism continues for over a month. It reaches a climax on April 18th, 1949. At 10:45 p.m., according to the priests and Brother Greg, a voice emanates from behind their heads.
Satan, I am St. Michael the Archangel. I command you, Satan, in the name of Dominum, to leave now, now, now.
After the most violent contortions, the boy relaxes. The exorcism appears to work. The invading demon believed possessing him is vanquished. Demonic possessions may not only happen, they may be on the increase. One of over 50 specially trained Catholic exorcists in the U.S. states he has 10 to 15 new cases a week.
The greatest achievement of the devil has been to convince people that he does not exist. Because if people don't really believe that he exists, then in a certain sense, he has free reign and can move around and act in people's lives without them truly knowing it.
Science appears to have no answer to evidence of demonic possession, evil spirits, or the human soul. Like, what do aliens want with us? And why the rise of cryptid beasts? It's an issue remaining firmly in the Unexplained files.